Hey, friends and family.
Hello there, Rex and Shana here.
Good to see you. So, here we are for another episode, and we have been discussing manifesting.
Manifesting, and of course, we talk about dreams coming true in other videos, but we've been really diving into that conversation here tonight, and just wanted to share with you a little bit. As we, I mean, we're and as again we talk about how we're all in this together. So it's not just about our dreams coming true, but we want to see your dreams come true too, whatever that means.
Right. And one of the ways we were talking about that is what happens when we have been preparing for what we want? What does it look like to be prepared to receive?
And that's a
So
great point.
it's not just manifesting what we want, but what does it look like to be prepared to receive?
And being in that moment when it finally happens. Because I've known in my own life, there's been times, and I've seen other people do this too, that you finally get into that moment, finally into that situation you've been waiting for, and somehow, some way, whether directly or indirectly, you find a way to sabotage it, find a way to let it slip through your fingers or something like that, where, what you wanted ends up somehow not manifesting when you're right there on the precipice. It's like, all right, so what do you do when you're finally getting there? What happens when the dream is right there, right before you, and all you've got to do is just execute your part to bring it into full manifestation.
Right. So,
And being ready is important, and being ready for that moment, and being ready to go carpe diem in that moment is key, because it's not going to just sort of happen and settle in on its own. You got to get up and act and do your part for that to be the case.
you have to be ready to receive. So, like for people calling in, financial blessings, do you know what to do with finances and how to be responsible with that once those show up? If you've been manifesting owning a house and getting out of a rent situation, do you know how to take care of a house? Do you know what that requires? Are you really prepared to own a home? Or do you just want to own a home? Right. Do you, if a house needs repairs, which houses need repairs, do you have a team of people lined up you can trust to make repairs? Or do you know how to make those repairs yourself?
I mean, that's a good question.
Do you have the money saved
is it ready to be
make
moved
the
into,
repairs?
are you prepared if it is a fixer-upper? Because sometimes
Oh my
homes,
gosh, yeah.
they might be ready to move into. Maybe somebody else did the work, but many homes do need a certain amount of work, and then maybe you just got something that's just altogether a fixer-upper.
And what is it you're manifesting? Because what you're manifesting is what you're going to get.
Sure.
So if you're manifesting a fixer-upper because you want to do the projects and customize it, you're going to have that. But if you want something that you've built that is very much your style, a builder came in and made it, well, you have that 10% down minimum to even start the build. And how do you get that 35-year mortgage down to 12 or less? Do you have that? Because this is part of what you're manifesting. I mean, I manifested no mortgage. That was my big thing to focus on for years, was no mortgage. And I manifested certain sustainable factors to make my house an eco home. And it is. Like since age 20, I started manifesting triple pane windows. I have triple pane windows.
Right.
Plus they block, EMFs and radiation and other atmospheric interferences. But there are a lot of things to what I was doing and why.
And you've been putting in the work all these years as well, doing your part to make sure that whether these gifts, these pieces that are coming into place, are going to be manifested, because when they do, you're there to act and do what you need to do to bring them into fruition.
That's right. So what is it you're doing to be prepared to receive what you're manifesting? Because when you're co-creating with God, you are creating in the miracle realm, not by yourself.
And the reason we bring this up is because so much of what we manifest, I mean, many of our dreams, be it through our work, our art, anything that really resonates for us and really is a part of what we are and what we want to do. I mean, we live in a monetized society. This is a capitalized world. And so our relationship with money is important. I mean, yes. I wish it wasn't the case. I mean, I just do everything I'm doing for free. I would love to be able to just do it because I simply love it. But we live in a world where, the goal, I think for most of us, is to do what we love, but be able to make sure we can not only just make a living, but set up a life for ourselves. I know that we're also set for life in doing what we love. And whether it's, having your own home, to being able to take, trips to Europe, or be able to have maybe a certain particular vehicle that you like, or any of the material kind of things that come with this life. My personal thing is I'm not a terribly material person, but there's just certain things that I want in place.
Right.
And as I'm getting older, I want to make sure I want to be comfortable as well. I want certain I guess you could call them luxuries in my life, because I really want to be able to be comfortable in my day-to-day life. You know, it's not like I need anything big or extravagant, but it's just making sure that those basic needs are there. And you know, when I want to, you know, enjoy myself and kind of nurture myself a little bit, you know, Shana and I both have some serious health issues, as we've talked about in other videos, but also be able to just take care of ourselves in the best possible way and not have to cut corners doing it. And I think that goes for any one of us. We shouldn't have to cut corners and just make do with what we have. We should be able to thrive on whatever it is we're doing, and whatever it is we're seeking to manifest. You know, whether it's that beautiful dream home, coming from your dream, whether it's just your job, an occupation, your art, your music, or whatever it is that is your true life passion in this world.
Right. So, like, if you're manifesting your dream car, have you really thought about the color you want? Have you thought about the exterior, interior color you want? Have you thought about how the roof is going to look, what special features it may or may not have? Have you, I mean, the pictures that you put of that vehicle as your screensaver or on your vision board or around your house, that's the color you're going to end up with. So
Right.
if you're manifesting red, but you've got yellow, guess what? You're probably going to get yellow. And also, as you're manifesting something, you'll see more and more and more of that thing that you're manifesting around you. So you may not see a whole lot of a certain make, model of a car until you start manifesting it. Then you start seeing a lot of that car around, where
Right.
before you didn't. It's like you're that much closer to getting that thing that you want, just that much closer. Like every time you see one, you're that much closer to it being yours. It's coming into your realm with intentionally, because you're calling it in. It's not that it just happens to be there.
Right, and you know, and I'm not going to say I'm still processing and learning as we go on with this as well. But you know, one thing that I've kind of learned is, don't necessarily make it about the object. Make it about your life. What do you want for your life? I mean, what are you wanting to manifest in terms of your lifestyle? How you want to, you want to approach your day, what you look forward to. I mean, right on down to the vehicle you're going to drive to wherever it is you need to drive to that day. It's a, I mean, and we see what you think. I mean, I know you're pretty good at this, but I mean, it seems like it's not always just about the item itself, not just about the car, not just about the house, that maybe that home stereo system or sound system or what have you, or even creating, manifesting that dream vacation. It's I mean, yes, that's part of it. That's the result of it. But I think what I'm kind of figuring out, at least within myself, is it's more about how it is applying to your life, as opposed to just making it about the things in itself, or just making it just about money. Because in order to have a certain kind of a life, to achieve certain goals, these certain pieces have to be in place, and among those pieces that have to be in place will be the financial element of that. And I think the relationship to money and how you feel about money has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to, like, a love of money, just obsession about, give me $1 million, but it's a respect, because for a long time, I can say, I think, I've done okay in this life, regarding money, but I think part of that is because I've not always had the best relationship with money, because part of me I didn't like the financial system. Even though I have a background in the financial system from a long time ago in my life, it got to where I was kind of soured with it, and I didn't like money, didn't like the process of making money, and the idea of the haves and have-nots and things like that. But as I've certainly coming through a near-death experience and coming to this point in my life, I'm starting to understand the importance of, again, given the kind of world we live in, that it is a monetized world, that a positive and healthy relationship with money is very important, since so much of what we do in this life involves it.
Yeah, so much of what we do involves it. So what kind of relationship do you have to money? Were you raised without a lot, where you come from a lack mindset? Have all of your needs always been met, where you feel comfortable with money and you feel like your needs are always going to be met? Because those things shape our relationship to money.
Sure.
And as a result, it impacts our relationship to what we're manifesting. So do we have the skills to manage the thing that we're manifesting?
Right.
Like, what is this preparation for this thing about to happen look like? Are we actually ready for the thing that we think we want?
That's true. And like I said, I mean, and when you get that opportunity, are you going to seize that opportunity, or are you going to find a way to squander it?
That's right. And a lot of people
one thing that you make an
lose
interesting
what
point
they
too is I think sometimes just because you're born with everything that you need, I know I've met people that have had everything they wanted their whole lives and still don't have a good relationship with money. I mean, I've met people conversely who haven't had a lot to grow up with, or maybe had a very small place that a whole family had to live in growing up, and yet they find that they have a very healthy relationship with money. And perhaps they grow up and they find, they come into their own and they manifest the kind of life and kind of living where they have everything that they need financially. So it's interesting how it can go both ways. Just because because you came up with a lot of money doesn't mean you automatically just have a great relationship with money or have a positive feeling about that. I mean, it's kind of different for everybody in that regard.
Right.
And I think whatever it is, whatever your experience, kind of like anything in life, is finding a way to make peace with that whole process. And for me personally, that's what I've learned to do over these years. It's like I'm in a place now where I accept it, I understand it, and ultimately I've come to terms with, it's going to be what I choose to do with it as
That's
I have
right.
it.
Well, here's a great example. A couple I know was manifesting a baby. So they got pregnant, they were having a baby. Suddenly, this beautiful baby is born, and both of them realize they have no idea what to do with a baby. One came from a situation where dad was gone by age 2, mom was a single mom until she met her soulmate, then they raised their blended family together, and it was very multicultural, very multi-religious, and an extreme conglomerate of this person from the Middle East having all this freedom all of a sudden that they never had, and not knowing what to do with it, how to manage it. And this, woman born in the US who had the skills and grew up in this culture and knew exactly what to do, and suddenly was like discounted. Then they raised these children who were like, we're going to party and celebrate life a whole lot, and we're going to go out a ton, and we're going to disregard everything we've ever been taught, but we're going to love my mom. Yeah. And they did. Now, the girl in that partnership, the little girl's mother, very, very broken home of older parents, a lot of abuse at home. There were 2 generations of kids. The older set was old enough to be the parents of the younger set. She was part of the younger set. And the youngest kids were like, there's a snake in the yard and it's poisonous, go kill it. But they're like 7 years old. Don't let your dad do it, he might get injured. You go do it instead. Very, very different. And also family of hoarders. So there's a lot of background things that go with hoarding. So there was all of this. And when they came together, they realized we have no idea what to do with a person. And this person is here. So they took these classes and did all this work and learned through all these skill sets that they were developing in a counseling relationship how to be the parents that they never had. They're like, well, this set didn't really work so well, and this set completely didn't work at all. So what do we do different, and how do we grow into this?
But they took it upon themselves to find their way, right?
They found their way, and they have 2 kids now who are extremely successful at what they do. And one of them is had a master's degree at age 26 or something.
Nice.
I mean, it's impressive what the kids accomplished, and they're happy, well-rounded, well-adjusted, and it was a lot of work. Now that those 2 have decided to uncouple, they've done work individually, and the mother in that relationship has really, really done her work and grown into this magnificent, balanced, incredible person.
Oh, nice.
So there's been layers and layers of growth and adjustment. But when you think that you're ready to manifest a family, are you really ready for what that brings? Or do you think you're ready for what that brings? Or does it terrify you?
That can also come with that, because it isn't going to be what you expect necessarily.
Yeah, does it terrify you, and then suddenly you don't know what to do?
And if you don't, you find yourself in that position, what do? Are you going to step up and find your way through it? Take the steps to figure out, whether it's reading books, going to counseling, to groups, to any number of different ways that you can figure out and start to take these steps so you can actually find a way to fulfill what it is you were wanting to fulfill in the first place. Because sometimes we dive into these things and we don't know what the heck we're doing.
Right.
But my belief is, and yours too, is there's always a way through this. It may not be, and typically it's not going to be an easy way through, but if it means enough to you, you're going to figure it out and you're going to do what's best for that situation, especially if it's your family.
Right. But when you manifest and you co-create, what is that end result? And are you really prepared for the thing that you think you want or need in your life? And that's kind of the question that we're bringing to you, because you don't want the thing to show up and then you don't have the resources for it.
Or it shows
the
up and you're like, oh
emotional
gosh, I didn't really
capacity.
want this after all.
Yeah, I mean, do you have the emotional capacity, the emotional development for this thing?
Right.
Or does it look really good on paper and then the real thing happens and you're like, oh my God, I didn't sign up for all that stuff that comes with it. I just signed up for that one little thing, but all this other stuff comes with it. So we want to make sure that when we're manifesting clearly and with purpose and intent, with the forethought, the wisdom, the knowledge, and the ability to carry through successfully. Not that we're just randomly manifesting.
And there's that old saying that we've all heard this, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it.
Right.
And if you really do, and again, sometimes it just takes time in life, and you've got to go through those bumps and bruises, those ups and downs. You even go through those failures, to get to that point where it's like, you know what, when it comes, I'm going to do what the heck I have to do. I'm going to figure this out. And I know we've talked about this, and a lot of it is just make that decision. You know what, there's going to be unknowns to everything that you do in this life, especially if you've never done it before. But you make that decision in advance. It's like, you know what, I don't care how hard this is, I don't care how long this takes, I'm doing this, and I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to find the pieces, the people, the situations to help manifest this and bring this into reality, bring this into fruition. And when it does, carpe diem. Just go carpe diem mode on that stuff. And whatever that means in the moment, you just do it. You figure it out and you do it. It gets you to that point where it's like, failure's just not an option anymore.
Right.
I just no more letting things get by you. I mean, and I've done that enough in my life. I've got plenty of deals. I mean, I guess at this point I've made my peace with my regrets, but I lived a lot of years with regrets and letting opportunities get by me that I wish I didn't. In hindsight, I look back and it's like, the old thing, we all know the saying too, if only I knew then what I know now. But it's okay. You've got that knowledge and information now, and as long as there's breath in your body, those dreams can still come true. You can still manifest whatever it is you seek, but just be prepared that when you do, it isn't maybe going to be exactly what you think. But make that decision right now as you put this out to the universe that, hey, I got this. Whatever gets thrown my way, whatever I've got to go through, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to work this out, especially if you've got those good people around you, especially if you've got a family around you, good friends around you, maybe those business partners, what have you, that you trust, that got your back and you've got their back, when you've got all those pieces into place, now you figure it out. When the universe gives you that gift, it's like, okay, thank you so much. Now let's do it. Let's make it happen.
I'll give you a great example. Other friends of mine, the wife and the relationship, extremely good with money. Husband, hard worker, knows how to earn it. Wife knows how to invest it, knows how to save it. Nice. She's fabulous with investing. So for fun, every once in a while, they play lotto. They play lottery every once in a while, just for fun. And this one time they felt divinely led to play lotto, and they won. They won. When they went to get their prize, when they went to claim their winnings, the person working lotto, who issues checks and works out the money situation with them, said, God just told me you're going to play again and you're going to win again. And they're like, what? No, we won once. We're good. Well, later on, some big thing came up and they're like, we haven't done this in a long time. It was kind of fun. Maybe we can do it again. They won a second time.
Oh.
They won the lotto twice. And
amazing.
They manifested it. They believed it. They did it when they were led.
And picked the right moment. That's the whole thing. It was timing in this case. Yeah, they listened.
They listened. There wasn't even that they picked it. It's that they listened. They listened to a calling. And they've won lotto twice. And you would never know by how they live or where they live or what they drive. You wouldn't know anything about that, which if I won, that's what I would do. My lifestyle wouldn't change. My car wouldn't change. Nothing would change to let anyone think anything different. That nothing would be different. I would just every once in a while say, oh, I've got your dinner tonight, and then
that's a nice thing to be able to do.
Behind the scenes, I'd be doing a lot. But nobody would know up front. None of my friends would know. None of my family would know.
Yeah, you don't want to have an ego about it. You want to enjoy it. You want to appreciate it. And I think that's the best way you can savor it and keep it as more of a gift in your life.
I want to bless others.
Yeah, and totally. And that's the best thing to do. Pay it forward in a matter of speaking. If you're talking about money.
That's why I want to win.
You've been blessed, and bless others in that same capacity, and hopefully they can do the same, and then they can bless somebody else in the process as well. You know, one of those ways we talk about ripple effects in these videos, and that's one of the beautiful ways things can ripple effect out and affect a lot of people in some very positive, amazing ways.
Yeah.
In this case, we're talking about money, how money can truly be a positive in this world. As long as we live in a capitalized world, you know, let's use it for the good things. You know,
Yeah.
let's use it to help lift people up and, you know, help people find and discover and manifest their dreams, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I want to undo damage that was done in domestic violence and repay my parents for their losses in that situation. And that's it. Once I can pay my parents back for what was taken from them back in 2000 and 2001, then I'll be much more at peace. And I guess that
totally
process
understand that.
started in 2017.
Sure.
But from 2017 to 2021, I want to repay my parents for what somebody stole from them. And then hopefully I can get some things back that were stolen from me.
Right.
You know, and
I know that's important.
yeah, I'm doing my work. I will always do my work to continue growing beyond domestic violence. I will always do that.
Absolutely.
Always, because that doesn't define me, and that was a brief time in my life. It was extremely life altering, but it doesn't define me. I think what defines me in that is my ability to forgive and to
Huge.
and to just not let it change my heart, but to continue
And find a way to keep your peace.
living fearlessly. Right. Yeah, I'm not going to live in fear. I'm going to live in love. And that to me is bigger than winning the lottery, you know, but I want to replenish what was stolen, but first to my parents. And then if there's anything left, I'm grateful.
Sure.
Yeah.
Spoil yourself a little bit, and you know, let yourself enjoy this
Not
life a little
spoiled.
bit.
Nope. Live exactly the same.
Well, I don't
And
mean in
put
a
everything
demonstrative
into
kind of a
savings,
way. You know,
because
just
everything I had was
just
for
be
my
comfortable,
savings.
Enjoy yourself.
It was for retirement. It was for future. Everything that I had that was stolen was strictly for that.
I hear you.
I want that replenished.
I get it.
My day to day is maintained. I can live with that, but gotta know parents are okay first.
I hear you. Well, it's
And
fine. I
then
get it.
yeah, and then whatever's left can start rebuilding for the future. Yeah.
That's all. I think it's okay to, you know, I don't mean, like I said, I don't mean spoil yourself in the context of like show the world or anything. I just mean in the context of just making sure you're comfortable, you have everything you want and need, and and that, you know, you get to a point in life, and it's, I think for all of us, where we just kind of, we don't have to want for not for anything. We just know that, you know, if there's something we want to do, big, small, or something in between, we can, it's going to be there, you know,
Right.
so we can make the most of our day and make the most of who and what we are. Because among my dreams, as I find, you know, my abundance, if you will, and find this fruitfulness and come into this new paradigm that I'm moving towards and seeking these opportunities, you know, in this in 2023, is I'd like to be able to find somebody who's really passionate about something, really believes in what they're doing, and has this wonderful, incredible idea. And we all know that in this day and age, nobody can really do it by themselves. It takes money, takes help,
right.
takes getting a couple of breaks. And I want to be somebody who can give those breaks to somebody who's really believing in what they're doing. And I see that, recognize that, their passion. I'd love to be that person to say, hey, here's a little something for you. Go do something positive with this and make your dreams come true. You know, here's a little bit of help for you to kind of put you on, you know, put you in a next step in your road, in your path, your journey. That's one of my fondest wishes. I just want to be able to kind of just, you know, make a difference for people, because there's so much talent and just so much brilliance out there, so much passion out there. And I think we all know people like this, and maybe, you know, speaking to somebody like this is that so oftentimes that talent, those passions can be overlooked, and sometimes people can live their entire lives with something really amazing. You know, if they just get this break or get that break, or just have just one thing shift that in their way, you know, whether it's money, whether it's a person that can do something they can't do, or whatever that may be. I want to be able to fulfill that role from time to time, to know I can be that guy that can just step in there and go, hey, here you go, you know, make this happen.
Yeah. And I
live your dream.
You're already doing that in your capacity, and it's going to continue growing, because
That's
there's
the
no
idea.
way that it can't grow. You've got a seed that you're watering, and it's getting sun, It's getting nourishment from soil. You're remineralizing that soil. You're taking care of that seed.
That's the idea.
Yeah. I already know it's happening for you.
I'm hoping so, because I'm still finding my way, of course, too. But I mean, but things are starting to come together in a way that, and one of the reasons this is coming up, because, of course, we're working together. We have opportunities, working together on what we're doing, but we also have opportunities ourselves as well that are coming up. And it's like, okay, as these opportunities come up, I mean, are we ready for them? And of course, we both are like, the answer is, oh, heck yes. I mean, we've been waiting a long time.
We've done the
We
preparation.
got years and years of work that are going into this. And as this stuff comes to fruition, as it builds and it grows and becomes, the manifestation of our dreams that we've been working towards all this time, then absolutely, positively, yes. And dealing with all the things that are the certainties and dealing with all the things that are the uncertainties. We're ready for whatever comes our way, so we can make the most of this. And as I say, we take care of our families, take care of friends, but also, maybe we pay it forward or kick it forward to somebody who's also looking to bring their dreams into fruition. Have their dreams come true because they've got something they're passionate about that means everything to them, that they've been working for years towards, and they just need that one break to help put them over the top. It'd be great to be in the position to be able to do something like that. Yeah, so we keep watering, that garden, if you will, and let everything just continue to grow, stay that course, and see what happens, and be ready to just, as I say, my word of every day at this point is carpe diem. Seize the moment, seize the day, and do everything you can to nurture those opportunities.
Right, and that's what we do. We nurture constantly.
Absolutely.
We nurture ourselves. We also nurture others. We nurture what we're investing in, what we're manifesting, what we're believing in.
Right.
With the projects we have going.
Absolutely.
We're giving into those already.
Totally.
We're doing that work, and we're believing in it, and we
growing
know
with it.
That's right. We know what's going to happen next. We already see it.
Yes.
So, it's important for other people to see us doing that work, to know that they're not alone in doing their work.
It'd be an example. Again, this is part of letting everybody know that what's really possible in life. If you've been in struggle for a long time, to just know that the struggle doesn't have to be for the entire life. The struggle can. You can work it out. Put that struggle behind you at some point. That anything really is possible, and I mean that in the most amazing ways. It's, when I say anything is possible, I don't mean all the worst things that could happen, but I mean anything possible in the best possible ways. It can happen if it can happen for us. I mean, it's not taking away from the people that we are and the work that we've done, but my point is, if it can happen for us, it can happen for you too. If it isn't already happening for you, then believe that possibility exists, and that's the first big step towards manifestation. Is just realizing that it's actually possible, that there is a way.
There's always a way. There's always a way for the thing to happen, but there are many ways to be prepared at every moment.
Absolutely.
For when that breakthrough happens.
Because you got to know when to act and know when to react. You got to know when to do your part in there. You still got to take action.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, we talk about financial blessings. When those come in, things are in place. They're already
and you got to be smart about that
and
too.
Ready to go, and there's a plan. There's things are set in motion. We're waiting for that blessing because everything's in place.
Right.
Yeah. Same for you.
Mm-hmm.
Same for you. You with the finance background.
That was a long, long time ago, and my brain doesn't even work like that anymore. It's kind of funny. I used to be such a business person. I spent a lot of years as a nightclub and concert promoter, on the business side of music and art. And a long time ago, I was even a stockbroker briefly. That's a long time ago, and but it was just a short time. My mother passed, and let's say a lot of things changed. But case in point is, I have a lot of business in my background, and even jobs that I've had have been largely retail and sales oriented type jobs. I've sold everything from like diamond jewelry to art, working for art galleries, any number of different things along those lines. But it's interesting, since I've had the traumatic brain injury near-death experience, I've definitely lost the business part of my brain, but the artist, the creator, the visualist, the visionary, if you will, that's the part that comes through now. So I'm looking forward to working with people, and there's people starting to come into my life right now. I've got a wonderful individual I'm starting to work with, and he's been proving to be really fantastic, being kind of my business sense to my artistic sense, and of course, because we're working together, what works out on my end, it also helps her out, and same thing with her with me. But that's the
My
whole
resources
idea.
become yours.
Absolutely, and goes both ways for us. But I mean, we're both, we're both creators, we're artists, we're visionaries, And business is not our forte, and I know mine's not my forte anymore. But the part of bringing the pieces into place is making sure that we have the people on our team that do understand how to run business, do understand marketing, do understand technology, and all those things that is not part of our wheelhouse at the moment. So we can do the work we're meant to do and allow these people to take what we're doing and manifest that into money, frankly, and so that we have the ability to not just make a living, but build a whole life for ourselves and be able to set ourselves up for life.
Right.
And then this is what we hope to be an example to show you what is possible. If you're not already there and already doing it, but the point is, if you're not, then just to let you know, no, don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on what means the most to you. Don't give up on what gets you going during the day, because it's still possible. We want to help be an example to show you, no, this can happen. If it can happen to us, it can happen to you.
Right. That's true, because it is happening for us, and we're seeing that. And off camera, there's a lot that we share and talk about.
Of course.
We're not going to put it out openly yet.
No, we're going to take a step at a time.
Good,
We want to make, as it starts
coming.
to happen, each step starts to manifest, it comes together. You'll be hearing about it. I mean, part of it is we're so excited. We want to just share it and tell the whole world, but at the same time, again, just want to show you that, hey, this stuff can work. You know, not just for us, but for you too.
And one thing I definitely want to point out, and I know we've said this in other videos, but I have to reiterate this. When something you have is taken away, whether it's you're being robbed blind, there's a fire, there's a flood, something happens, and your things disappear. They come back, and they come back better than they were before the incident ever happened. In that recovery, it's always better than what it was before. And I have no idea what that's going to look like or how that will be, but I know for a fact that's going to happen, because not only is it promised to me already, spiritually, it's already promised, but I've only ever seen evidence of that truth. And I know that from my own personal experience as well. When things went away, that the things that came back were better than the things I had before. And I've seen that repeatedly with different things in my life. So I know without a doubt it's going to happen. Now, I don't know how, and I can't imagine what that's going to be, or who that would be with, or how that would happen. I don't know all the amazing people lined up to come into my world and for me to come into their world, but I know that it's going to happen. We're going to bless each other. And I'm excited, so excited to see what that is.
You're here.
And I've also seen those recoveries happen in a relatively short period of time.
You certainly can.
And I mean less than 10 years. For each major catastrophic event, it's been less than 10 years for the fullness of that recovery to come back better than it was before the loss ever happened.
That may seem like a long time,
excited.
but when you're talking about the scope of a whole lifetime, it really isn't. And part of that is not letting yourself get too caught up in the loss, wallowing in the hurt, the loss, the pain, the potential tragedy that may have been involved, the trauma that may have been involved.
Right.
And getting back to that original point of just realizing that anything is still possible, and allowing for that, what she just explained, to realize that that really is possible. And if you let it happen, it will manifest.
I mean, there can be wisdom in those negative experiences. There can be wisdom.
Of course.
But the trauma doesn't need to dictate our lives.
And it doesn't define you. It doesn't have to define you.
I mean, I survived abuse. Is abuse trauma, particularly ongoing?
Sure.
Does it define me? And do I look traumatized? Right?
You've made choices to move forward with it, heal, take again, and there's processes, and it's not always easy.
Right.
But you do the work.
I use those experiences as wisdom.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make me
and then coming
bitter
through
or
it,
angry.
it has. Exactly. You come out the other end of it, if anything, more deeply loving, more deeply connected, more peaceful. And then, of course, at that point, you're really much more aware of what you want, what you don't want, and also aware of not getting yourself into those situations again. And that's part of it. Making sure that, okay, don't repeat it, don't let it become a pattern in your life. It's like, okay, learn from it so you can move on from it, leave it behind you.
Yeah, I've got that part taken care of.
Yes, indeed, absolutely, and same here.
And that's
I've
not
got my stuff
selfish,
too, but
that's wisdom.
No, it's totally wisdom, and it is, seeking
yeah.
to do what's best, so you can be at your best in life, be your best self, and have, what many people call your highest path, your best path, what you're really meant to do in this world. And in our case, we want to make a positive difference in the whole world. We want to touch people in positive and amazing ways.
The more resources I have, the better other people's lives are going to be.
Absolutely.
The more diverse that is, the more nonprofits I can start or have or give to or be a part of,
Right.
or whatever that needs to be.
Absolutely.
That can happen, and it will. It will. There's nothing in my life I'm doing that's a selfish thing. It's when something good happens for me, everyone's coming along.
That's the
And I
idea.
think
It's
a
more
lot
fun
of
that
people
way.
live that way.
Absolutely.
So when these great things happen and there's opportunities, I see you bringing other people with you.
And that's the whole thing. Is that's the difference of it being about ego versus being about love. Is, it's about ego. You do it all for yourself, and you keep it all for yourself. When you do it for love, you raise yourself up, but in the process, you want to raise everybody else up around you too.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we do. We raise, we nourish, we bless, we
Absolutely.
help, we're giving people.
And one thing I've been saying ever since my NDE, because I've always been such a loner in this life, and just kind of doing everything myself and feeling like I was so much stronger for it. And one thing that I've wanted and made a point since the near-death experience almost 12 years ago now is that I don't want to be an island anymore. I want to connect. I want to share. And again, we've said this in other videos, and we'll probably say it again many times. But you can be a strong person on your own, but we're stronger together than we can ever be on our own.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't mean that. I mean, even just the two of us, it doesn't double in strength. It's exponentially stronger.
Right.
Then you add a couple more people, and it becomes just exponentially that much stronger again.
Right.
And getting and again, as that starts to branch out to to a community, maybe to a nation, to a whole world. I mean, there's just nothing more powerful than that when everybody is coming together and doing it through a loving heart. Not just raising yourself up, but let's raise each other up in the process. We're all in this together, and we all need to be part of this together. So it's not about don't take it in the shorts, don't make the sacrifice so you have nothing and everybody else has everything. You deserve a life too. You deserve to live the life you want to live, have your dreams come true, have your partners, your family, love. I mean, whatever that is, whatever it is you're dreaming about. I mean, we all do. Let's all bring each other up so we can all have the best possible life, whatever that means. I don't mean extravagance. It's not about that or anything. And not always having, all the fastest cars or something. It's just whatever that dream life looks like to you. Because I mean, personally, I don't need a giant house. I don't need a mansion. I just want something that's nice and comfortable that I can come home to and just, and just really feel like I'm at home. Truly.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, there are certain things that I'm manifesting and creating in certain spaces. And today I got a beautiful taste of that being at a gorgeous meditation center and healing retreat center. And there are people who live there, but it's made to house people for weekend or week-long experientials. And
Oh, right.
it's just fantastic. So when I was there, I saw so many elements they brought into their home that I've been manifesting for this space, this is my home.
Right.
But this is a healing space. This is a space of wellness. This is a space of creating miracles and recovering from illness and relieving stress and getting rid of the things that don't fit. Like this is that space centered around healing, built for healing and wellness. It's an eco-sustainable home with shielding and all kinds of amazing things meant strictly for healing and health. And you know how this house works.
It's very comfortable. I enjoy being here. Of course, it's part of it is that we enjoy each other's company
Yes.
and have wonderful conversations and have a great time just hanging out.
Right.
But this is a very great vibe.
Right.
It's very comfortable, and it's very homey, if you will.
Well, and the space where I was today is a retreat center. Of course, that being said, it's built around healing and wellness and mindfulness and practice and journeying and connection and community and deepening partnerships, dealing with deepening relationship with self to God and self to breath, and I mean all kinds of amazing things. And a lot of stuff I saw there are things I've been calling into my existence, into my realm, into my space. And to be in that, it helped me see how much closer I am to not just having it in my head and having images and pictures of it around, but I actually walked into that space. kind of like the car you're manifesting. You're going to start seeing it everywhere. Suddenly it shows up, but you never really saw it much before.
The part of manifesting is situations, and not just cars and materials. But it's the right kind of situations, the right kind of places, that the people. I mean, all that part of it's part of the manifestation as well. I mean, this isn't just the material aspect, but that's part of it as well. Is having those part of the pieces and places, if you will, are the people, and having the right situations and kind of the right breaks, if you will. And then like you say, walking into a place and just going, okay, wow, this is where I belong right now.
Well, it's not even this is where I belong. This is what I've been envisioning. And then I got to physically walk into this space I've been envisioning. So many things in that space I've been envisioning, but they weren't real to me. They were in my head, but in my imagination, in what I envision and what I manifest and create, I could take myself there. Today, I physically went inside of it. It's like going to the dealership of the car you want and sitting inside the car that you dream of, that you wonder how it's ever going to happen, but you sit inside of it. You no longer have to picture yourself inside the car because you are inside the car. And that was my experience today. I didn't have to picture the surroundings and the things I'm calling into my space. I got to go into that space. And that's why I'm kind of on a high today.
That's wonderful.
Because I'm that much closer to having that as part of the house or part of the yard, or having that as part of the healing experience or the space that I've created here for wellness. It's that much closer, that much closer. But it's a big step of that much closer.
Right.
So I can feel the things that I want and need and believe and breathe into. I feel that into existence. I'm not just hoping and wishing from far away, because if you're just hoping and wishing, you're not manifesting. You're hoping and wishing, and there's a big difference between doing the work to manifest and having this big hope and dream.
I mean, that's where it starts, but you still got to do the work. You still got to, again, put the action behind it, put the intention behind it, and actually do it.
Right. So now, what I've been doing since I was in that space today is asking myself, am I ready for what that takes? Am I ready for that responsibility? Am I ready for these specific things that I've been wanting? Here they are. They exist. I walked into it today. I breathed in it. I felt it. I interacted with the koi. Like, the list goes on and on and on, right? Of all these amazing things today. And I was with one of my very best friends in the world. And to have her there and share that was just like, oh my God, I'm moving in. This is my home. This is my space. And I'm laughing about it. She's like, they need someone to move in and help. I'm like, well, I have a home. She's like, yeah, exactly. She's like, we're both saying that. We're both like, okay, how do we make this work now? But how do I bring those elements of what I saw today that I've been manifesting into the space I have? And here I am walking it. I'm in it. It's surrounding me. I'm being with it. What am I doing to prepare for that? Am I ready for what that responsibility looks like? Am I actually ready if it showed up on my doorstep tomorrow saying, here's this beautiful atmosphere of all these incredible things you've been envisioning and manifesting. Boom, here they are. Am I ready for that responsibility? And do I have the ability to take that on?
And what's
so
your answer?
What am I doing to prepare for that? I am pretty close. I'm pretty close.
Pretty close to being ready?
I need to dig a koi pond in the backyard. Because the fish showed up.
Right.
There's a pond.
You got
That's
space
what
in
it
your
looks
backyard.
like.
I can see it back there.
I do. That's what that center space is for.
Okay.
Back.
I can totally see
over
that.
there by that window.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
It's there, and there's this intention for it, and I just, when the time is right, when the resources are right, that's showing up. But today I got to live and be in that space where the resources were present. I'm that much closer. That means the blessing that I want and need in the space and the thing I've been manifesting is that much closer. I'm almost there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes. Love it.
It's happening. But this is for a lot of things in my life. This isn't about a
It's,
pond.
it's an
and
example. I mean, there's
yes.
more to it. Like we talked
So
about, it's
much
about
more.
creating a life. It's not just about the individual things. These components are part of the manifestation of the life that you want. But that's really what it's about: is creating the life that you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And knowing that it's sustainable and that you're set for this life. You know that everything is there. You're taking care of what you need, what you seek. You know, for your goals, your dreams, for all of it. It's all there.
Mm-hmm. And I get to see what the restructuring and the rebuilding looks like. Because some people are coming from a place like I am, of all these things that were there to establish safety and security are suddenly wiped out. A thief shows up, everything's gone.
Right.
Right? Then what? You feel lost, you feel confused, you can't trust anybody, you go through all these stages of emotion. Then it's like, I can trust, I'm not lost. I totally forgive. That was the first one, is forgiveness. Always that first. So forgive, of course. Never make an excuse for someone. They're completely accountable for their actions and the harm they cause others. Understand,
you're not at liberty to
yeah.
keep putting yourself in the line of fire, as it were. You know, if you have such people in your life, it's fine to understand where they're coming from, have compassion for that person, but it does not mean put yourself in the line of fire.
No.
So, you know, you don't have to be at the wrong end of that situation because you want to try to be caring or understanding. You know, part of being loving, part of the loving thing to do is to put yourself in a position where you don't have to be taking that impact, because they are accountable for their own actions, no matter how much you may understand or want to be compassionate and caring. And like I said, I mean, and sometimes the loving thing to do is just to take a step back and let something be.
Exactly.
And
Because,
sometimes it's even just to let somebody go.
well, yeah, the amount of abuse we go through sometimes does not prove our tolerance, does not prove our forgiveness, and it doesn't prove our love. It doesn't prove any of that.
Exactly.
It doesn't prove any of it.
The amount of abuse you can take is not a reflection of how
I'm
much
so
love.
dedicated to this job. I will allow my employer to abuse me and use me to the greatest extent. I'm going to put in that overtime and never get a penny for it, just to be a slave to this job, to show them how dedicated I am.
Right.
No, that's abuse. Don't do that.
Right.
You know, you have to honor yourself. You have to honor yourself.
That's part of the love. I mean,
Yeah.
loving yourself is part of this. I mean,
Right.
when we love each other, but the self-love is important. That's a key component to this.
Right? It's kind of like, who does God say we are? What is our value? And if anything shows us less than that, then it doesn't belong in our world,
Right.
in our realm.
Right.
That's kind of a boundary, right? So a lot of this has to do with boundary work,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but when we get through those things, it's like boundaries are in check, peace is in check, forgiveness is in check. All these foundational pieces are there. Then what happens once we start building on that? And that's what I'm looking at. It's like, when do we go to the dealership and sit in the car that seems unattainable? When do we sit in that car where we don't envision ourselves in the car anymore? We put ourselves in that car. Today, I sat in the space of what I've been envisioning. Right. That seems completely unreal in some ways. And yet I've been preparing for many years for it.
It was real today, right?
Today it was real. I was, and it was an accident, right? I didn't know what the place was I was going to. Certainly couldn't envision what it looked like. I show up and I'm like, this is the space I'm creating. And I'm in the space I'm creating. The space went from up here to here. I was in the space. Be in that space.
And that's partly as you're manifesting too, you're attracting certain experiences just like this, and you kind of like in that resonating, and sometimes it comes unexpectedly. You're putting it out to the universe. You've got this relationship, you know, universe, God, spirit, however you want to put that, and again, it just brings those situations to you that kind of reminds you that, hey, you're on the right course, you're on the right path, and these dreams that what you're manifesting, like you say, it's getting closer. This is a big step in that positive and that right direction.
You want to build that home? Drive by an architect's office. Go to show homes by a builder. Look at new developments. Look at houses that have seemed unattainable that might be going on the market. Drive by the house that's your dream house. You know, I grew up in this one house.
Save pictures on your computer for
Yeah.
that matter. You see pictures of that dream house on your computer, save them so you can look at them. I mean, or get a board, put up a board, and put these pictures and things. I know people that will do this, and you can even write down your goals, have pictures towards your goals, whatever it is. Be it something that's material like a house or a car, or maybe a goal in creating your next album if you're a musician or something like that, or anything along those lines. So
Right.
there's a word for it it's escaping me. It's not message board, but it's a something.
Vision board?
Vision board perhaps I think will work. But the case in point is, do these things that help support that which you're trying to seek to manifest. Because if it feels right to you and it's really part of who and what you are, you believe in it, and it comes from a pure place, that loving place, it's going to come to fruition. The universe tends to be very accommodating with pure intentions, and that goes both ways. If your intentions are hate-filled, angry, volatile, then you're going to be attracting a lot of those kinds of experiences and those kinds of people into your life. And a lot of that which maybe you're wanting to have happen, it may not happen quite that way because of that kind of intention being put out. But if the intentions are pure, what you visualize is pure, and it's resonated, and it's something that truly is you will realize that it'll happen.
So growing up, I lived in a house at the end of a street at a dead end next to a creek, and there's this family who for years would drive by the house and stop in front of the house and look at it and talk about it. And it was a house on a golf course, and they wanted to live on the golf course, and they liked the view. And for years they drove by our house. We didn't know this until our house had been on the market like 8 months. It wasn't selling, and we had a real estate agent who wasn't even pushing to sell the house. I think they showed it 3 times in 8 months.
Oh my gosh!
So we changed real estate agents, and the house was on the market. This family drives by, they see the sign, and they said, "We want your house. We've wanted your house for years. We can't believe it's on the market." They hadn't even seen the inside, and they're like, "We want your house." Well, a real estate agent was a friend of my parents, and they made some deal. People came in and said, "This is exactly what we thought it would look like on the inside."
Nice.
They said, we really thought this is how the house would look. And they made an offer right then and there. Like, that was it. Like, there were a couple of people that looked at the house, but this one family fell in love with that house. But they spent years visiting the house, going to the house, seeing the house, envisioning their children in the yard, envisioning their kids in the upstairs bedrooms. Like, they could see the layout of the house, and they didn't even know what it looked like on the inside, but they had this vision of what it was, and they could picture their family there, and they put a lot of energy into it, and that house became their house.
So it was like they were already there, even though they weren't quite there yet. But in their
made
minds
many trips
and
there.
their visualizations, they were already there.
Yeah. And it was their dream home. They said, "This is our favorite home. This is the home that we want. We don't want any other house. This is it." And then
the right
became
synchronicity
their home.
aligned, and it became their home. Yeah.
So, kind of amazing how things work. But that is the power of manifesting. That family, as a family, manifested that house.
Right.
They started manifesting the house when the house was never going to be on the market, and it became their home. So that's how these things work. And we know that what they had and what they got weren't the same. What they had was good. What they got was even better than what they had. Everything just keeps getting better. And we know that this is what happens in this realm of what is seemingly impossible becomes absolutely expected, and not just expected, but is completely possible and will come to pass.
And dreams do come true.
That's
We've
right.
said this before, and I'm sure we'll say it again, but dreams do come true.
Dreams
It
come
happens.
true. That's how Radix happened. He's over here on the couch. That's how he happened. That puppy manifested him for years, and then there he is.
Such a good guy.
He is. I love it when he joins us in videos. Is there anything else that you want to say about what it's like to be prepared for what you manifest?
Just, I mean, I think I'm probably not going to say anything that I haven't already said, but it's just, I mean, when that situation arises in your life and those circumstances arise and it's all before you, like I say, my whole statement of every day now is just carpe diem. Seize the moment, make it happen. Don't let it get by you because you'll regret it. I mean, and sometimes it takes a long time for these things to come to fruition. So when it does, I'm telling you, just be ready and make that decision. You know what? I got this. And if there's anything that I don't understand, I don't know, there's certain, I guess, some uncertainties involved in it, but just know you're going to figure it out. You're going to work it out. You're going to find your way, because that's what it means to you. And it's what you're meant for. You know, you want to call it fate, call it destiny. I mean, even something like destiny to me is something that you choose. I mean, sometimes, you know, things just happen and they get thrust upon you. But most things in this life, I mean, you know, God, the divine spirit, can set the stage for you, but you still got to do your part. So when the stage is set, be ready and go for it.
Right.
Right?
Gotta be set, be ready. I was thinking some more about the things that we're manifesting. And one of the things I have seen is the self-sabotaging mindset, which is very often the case. The thing we want the most is the thing that scares us the most. And it doesn't just scare us, it's the thing that scares the hell out of us. We want it so bad, and it's so scary. A lot of people manifest their life partner, but yet they are not even ready for that life partner. And the work that would require, and the inner work they have to do, and am I really where this person needs me to be? All these things and these doubts, and did that person do their work? And oh my gosh, can I trust? And it's this thing that's so overwhelming, and it makes them sick, and it makes their tummy hurt, right? And they're like, oh my God, nothing causes more anxiety than this. But it's the thing they want the most. It's the thing they want the most. So be ambitious. That thing that you want the most in your life, go for it.
Absolutely.
But do it without fear. If you have fear, you have the ability to self-sabotage.
Absolutely.
And you can mess up that thing that is your miracle, that is your assigned destiny, that is that thing you're manifesting, that's all of it and more. You can mess that up. Yes, you, not somebody else. It's not going to be this other person's fault. They're just going to show up. You have to be ready and do the work.
Take responsibility for yourself and your actions and your failures, but also take responsibility for your successes as well. Take responsibility for your manifestations. And again, right, like she says, no fear, come from that loving place, and you can have those dreams. You can manifest those dreams and live that life, have the things that you've always wanted, including that beautiful partner, that car, again, that new album, or whatever the case, whatever it is that you're passionate about. Just believe in that, believe in yourself, believe in your path, and wonderful things can happen.
Yeah, and kids also, big thing. People want kids, and then they're terrified of them. They're terrified. They're like, it's so hard being responsible. Me just being responsible for me. How am I going to be responsible for another person or two other people? Like, what does that even begin to look like? And then they get overwhelmed. Then they start to get fearful. And then they're like, and then what if this person I love dies? Then you have all these things that go with that. Of like, what if it's my fault? Do I blame myself? What about this? What about that? I'm like, everybody you know, including yourself, we're all going to transition out of this existence into a new one. At some point, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. You never know when or how or whom. And that's part of what we sign up for when we sign up for love. Every single time we sign up for love, we also sign up for I'll see you later.
And of course, you don't want to get hung up with that. That's we got to be careful not to let the fear kick in. That's insecurity, and you got to be fair. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? But just know that whatever it is,
be with the agreements.
Right.
Be with the agreements. You
understand
make.
The realities, but at the same time, embrace what's possible. Don't get hung up on all the negatives. Embrace what's possible. Embrace what is the best that can come out of this.
Right.
I mean, I've got a whole life of doubts and wallowing in all this negativity and all the things that can go wrong with things. Like, I'm very conscious of all of that. I don't spend my time in that anymore. I just spend my time thinking about how can this work? How can we make this work? And how can we make it the absolute best that it can be?
Right. And it's okay to sign up for something saying, I don't know what the outcome of committing to love is going to look like, but I'm committing to love and I'm choosing to show up for it every day. Whatever happens beyond that is something that happens. It's not in my control, and I can be free of whatever that may bring. But we have to sign up for that. So if you're not willing to do that work and make those agreements, you're not ready to love. You're not ready for whatever that next thing is of bringing the right people into your life or the people that you want in your life. You're just not ready. So it's letting go of the judgments, letting go of these things, and just saying, I'm trusting that everyone I know is going to be well. And I'm trusting these things, knowing that we're all going to transition out of this life, knowing that things are going to happen beyond my control, and I can show up with love and agree to love every single day. And being with a partner who agrees to that same love and signs up for it every day.
And since we're talking about manifesting, and this is just, in this case, which I think she's referring to, is just manifesting, that love in
manifesting
your
a
life
partner,
and seeing how it shows up in your
kids.
life every day, no matter what happens.
Yeah, manifesting love. What does that look like? I mean, you can manifest your dream job, but you may not know all the ins and outs of it, but you think you do. And are you willing to go through the hard moments and those little bits of disappointment to have the overall joy of what that dream job is?
If it means enough to you, the answer is
It's
yes, and you will.
Yeah, but
Simple
you
as
can't
that.
live in fear and you can't live in doubt. So if you've got the fear and you've got the doubt, or at some point you become apathetic, then your manifesting is broken. It's just not going to happen. But when you let go of those fears and you stop self-sabotaging and you fully go in for the dream, that's when it happens. But be prepared for what comes with that dream. Be prepared. You can't manifest halfway. Go all the way through.
Absolutely.
Be ready to
Make that
receive at
decision
any moment.
in advance that, hey, you're gonna find your way. You got this, and you can do it. There's a way through everything, and you will find it.
That's right. Oh, okay. Anything feel unfinished, or does that feel
Well, I
good
think
to you?
I think we've covered it. I think we've covered it pretty well here. So
I think we covered it.
hopefully, if you stayed with us this whole time, thank you, and I hope you got something out of it. Hopefully, got your thinking, got the wheels turning, and believing that, hey, anything's possible. And just remember, dreams do come true. It happens, and it can happen for us, and it can happen for you.
They
So
absolutely
stay
do.
with it.
And we're
Believe
watching.
in it. Stay with it.
We're watching and witnessing things unfold for one another right
Absolutely.
now, and pretty soon we'll share those with you. It's pretty
Oh,
exciting.
as this thing unfolds, I mean, as things happen, of course, and we'll definitely be sharing with you. So looking forward to the next edition.
That's right.
All right. Well,
Thank you for joining.
thank you so much.
Have a
Much love.
peaceful night.
Peace.
Take care. Bye.